Hi, this is John Patrick Hickey. I want to welcome you to the video cast. You know, if you're like me, you might like the news. I'm just a big news freak. I love watching the news. And you know, last year, before the elections were happening, I would watch news in the morning, in the afternoon. If I was in the car, I'd listen to talk radio. I'd listen to it at home. I spent my evening watching news programs. You know, one of the things about a 24-hour news cycle is they got to fill it. So you got all kinds of stuff that are coming. Well, I found something last year that was happening to me that really distressed me, that I didn't really care for. And that was that I was angry. Now, as a person by nature, I don't tend to be an angry person. I'm pretty positive, at least I think I am. And I'd like to encourage people and to encourage myself and to see things from a more positive light. But that was fading. I found myself angry a lot of times. And especially during that period of time that the Kavanaugh hearings were going on. That was a turning point for me. And just before the midterm elections in November, I found myself actually hating people. And that's not like me, and I didn't like it at all. It was a wake-up call to me that something had to change. This wasn't good. Now, I can turn around and blame the media, I can blame the news cycle, I can blame the politicians, I can blame all kinds of people, but the reality was the problem was in me. It was not out there, it was in me. These people were doing their job. I may disapprove of their job and think that they do a lousy job at it, but it doesn't change the fact that I had the problem. They didn't have the problem. So in November, I started looking, because I begin my goal-setting process actually in October for the coming year. And I was looking at things to make a difference, to change. You see, I really wanted to change. When I set goals, I don't necessarily think about what I'm going to achieve with the goal as much as I like to think about who I'm going to be once I achieve those goals. And in doing that, I started saying, you know, I needed to get my attitude right. I had to, in a sense, purge all of this anger and angst from who I am. So I stopped watching the news. I mean, I just stopped. I didn't listen to talk radio. I didn't watch news broadcasts. I just stopped. I stopped watching things on social media. All of it just completely came to a stop. And my goal was that I would stop until the beginning of the year. And then I could once again begin to connect with the world around me. Well, making a long story short, it is the beginning of the year. I decided I ain't going back because I feel much better. I also came to realize a couple of very important things. One is I can't change the world just because I don't like things. Now, I might get angry at people. I can sit and I can yell at the television set. I've often wondered, because we have an Alexa that does things like turn on lights for us and stuff. And of course, everybody talks about that it's actually listening to you. Well, if it hears me screaming at the TV, I'm waiting for the FBI to knock on my door and say, who is it you were going to murder? You know, it was because I get so uptight, but I can't do anything about it. For one, none of those people care what I think. And if you think for a minute that your political views, whether you state them on social media or you yell them from the housetops, that people care, they don't. They just don't. And all you're doing is upsetting yourself and putting negative energy into yourself that you just don't need. Another thing was, the world's going to continue whether I'm aware of what's going on it or not. And I can also find everything I need to know as a citizen. Because let me clarify something here. cutting off the news, cutting off all of this political stuff that goes on in the world around us, doesn't mean that you abandon your responsibility as a citizen. We have responsibilities as citizens to make a difference, to move things forward. But if there is an election coming up, something that I need to be aware of, that I can make a difference in, I possibly can change, it's easy to find any information I need, good information that I need. You know, another one of those things that I discovered that is kind of a constant truth is not only that I can't change the news, but 90% of that news is lies. It's just not true. And I'm not going to be bombarded with people's attitudes and opinions that aren't even based in fact. I mean, I am not, the world's most brilliant person. I'll confess that. I am also not somebody who understands every detail of economy and the political process and all of those things. But I listen to some of these people in Congress, and I'm thinking, I'm smarter than that. I mean, some of these people are really stupid. Now, forgive me for giving my opinion again, but it's the truth. And when you listen to that, why go to those sources? Why even bother with these people? You can become aware of the things you need to be aware of very simply and very accurately. It just takes a little bit of work, but you can do it. And I encourage you to let that be your guide. I listen to the news, I listen to some headlines periodically just to kind of keep abreast of what's going on in the world, but that's it. Because, like I said, there's a lot I can't do anything about. There's a lot I really don't want to do a lot about. So I'm just going to let it go by the wayside. It does not matter to me. It does not affect my life. It does not affect how I'm going to live that life. Let me encourage you. Let this time be a time that you can build positive things into yourself. There is so much good out there. There's so much positive influence out there. I started going through things like Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and I just eliminate all the political talk. I eliminate all of the nonsense that's out there, the negative explosions people have. And I find that I get less of that in my feeds. And I find more and I like more and comment more on things that are good. Things that are happening in people's families that I know. The achievements that people make. There's so much positive good out there that you can really build yourself up on. Go for that. Put positive things in your life. Remove the negative. Change what you can change, but accept the things you can't change and let them go. I promise you, you will feel better and have a better year. And I also want to encourage you to be your best, love God, have good manners, discover the unknown, and change your world. We at the Growth Center are committed to not only helping you set goals, but to actually achieve those goals. For more information on our books and materials, go to the website at www.johnpatrickhickey.com. That's www.johnpatrickhickey.com.